the 4 worst things in existence in this human experience will be fear, doubt, disbelief, and ignorance. Plain and simple. There's no debating that. These are the 4 worst things that we have to endure, in this reality. So, fear creates doubt. Disbelief exists because of ignorance. Plain and simple. So you can't believe something because you don't have enough knowledge to make a, intelligent decision. When you are in fear, you have doubt about everything that is pertaining to what you fear. So everything is in question when you have fear. These things, when they creep into your energy, these things that is basically festering up in you, will cause you to never be able to reach, true potential. Plain and simple. So, these things are basically, conducive to this system. So this system basically, it breeds fear, doubt, disbelief, and ignorance. In fact, it can't exist without them when you really pay attention. But these things are basically conducive to the system, and they understand that. Our lives as well is basically conducive to this system. And, if you understand that, your reality is basically based on what you believe and perceive. So if you understand this, then you need to control what people believe and perceive. If you do that effectively, you can control their reality. And this is what they have effectively done with us. And a lot of people are not understanding this, that your reality is being controlled because they are controlling what you believe and perceive. And they have done so since birth. You have been brought up in a system to where people have been programmed to push out a belief system. We are following a pattern that people who came before us have followed and have brought up and have built and made strong for us to follow as well. We are not following anything that we create ourselves. This is the system that we're following. And a lot of people just don't fathom that you are born almost as if, somebody put you into a maze. And the purpose of life is to get to the end of that maze. Some people will, some people will not. But you have to realize that you are one inside of a maze, and that outside this maze, there is, real life. There is stuff going on. There is powerful people who put this stuff in motion. And that if you can run the maze, you can be, stand with those powerful people. But first, you got to get through the maze. You have to realize, one, that you are in a maze, that this is a trap, this is a plan. This is, every turn you make, something is there to lead you to either the right direction that's going to take you out, or the wrong direction that's going to leave you, at a dead end. So unless you understand, one, you're in a maze, you're never going to make it out. And this is the problem. A lot of people don't realize how this stuff works, and that what you put into your psyche, what you put into your consciousness, what you perceive and what you believe is one of the main issues that causes you to be where you are. So us living in this society, we are bound by the rules of this society. We are, dealing with that, coupled with this illusion of freedom, that you have this freedom of choice and you're free and you can do whatever you want. It's an illusion. There are rules, and you are bound by the system and its rules, plain and simple. So then when you look at that and understand that, the direction that you are going, that you are headed, has been given to you. You don't have a choice when people are giving you multiple choices. You didn't pick none of the choices. All of the choices was given to you. So how are you choosing? If you understand what I'm saying. So it's like, if I'm saying, if you want a car, I'm going to give you 6 cars. You pick one. You didn't pick any of the cars. I picked all the cars. You're going to pick one. So your choice is really going to be one of my choices. You didn't walk over there and say, I want that one. I gave you 6 choices. You chose from my choices. This is basically what's going on. So our choices that we have and the path that we can take in life has been given to us. And we have been following this path that we have seen played out, before us. So the whole pattern of, you go to school, graduate, you get a job, you get married, you buy a house, you work till you die. You have kids, you work till you die. Those kids repeat that cycle, so on and so forth. And it's basically what the pattern is. And it's like, within that, there are so many different, what we call traditions. So, you buy a wedding ring, a certain carat, or you wear white wedding dress. You have this at the wedding. The bride wears this, or the groom does that. traditions, we call them, but there are traditions that exist within so many different other families. They're not traditions. These are, choices that's been put out there for us to choose from. Things that we've seen people do, and we chose to do it based upon this system, based upon, how we live in this society. So these are societal things that we are choosing to go to school and go to college and work for these people for the rest of our life until we die, till we can't walk anymore, till we can't, even, go to the bathroom normally. And that's it. You die, your kids repeat the process, you start over. And this is it. This is what's taking place. So again, when we talk about manifestation, you got to understand that this is not something spooky. This is not something out of left field when you understand what manifestation is and how it's being used against you, every single day. So think about it. If you don't want people manifesting freely or understand that it's even possible, you have to control their lives. And this is what it's about. That control is really important. So we are basically, bound by the parameters of this system. And we can only do things that is conducive to the system, that fits within the system. Anything outside of it, you can't function. You can't function as you would want to growing up in a society where people have jobs and everything like that. So, before you turn 21, you have already been indoctrinated into a system that's going to determine where your life is going to go. So your future has basically already been decided for you, as long as you are on that train, plain and simple. So, you graduate college, you get a job, you're working. Unless you jump off that moving train, you're going to be headed in the same direction as everybody else, plain and simple. So you may be off track, so to speak, but you're headed in the right direction. That train is not going in the direction that you want it to go. Plain and simple. It's not going where you really want it to go, where you have freedom. And that's what it's about. So if you want people to stay in this one direction and follow these same trends and not, separate and be different, then this is what you're going to follow. This is the system you're going to create for people to follow, to just follow, school, work, marriage, mortgage, kids, die, and they repeat the cycle. So a lot of people can't fathom quitting their jobs or trying to be an entrepreneur, and automatically, fear is going to creep in, and then they're going to have doubts. They're not going to believe that it's possible for them to be an entrepreneur and be a business owner. And all of that is because they are ignorant as to what we're going to talk about in this video. Plain and simple. They have no idea what to do or that it's even possible for them to come out of their situation. Ignorance is one of the major things that keep people back. Just like the Bible says, people are basically going to perish for lack of knowledge. And not only that, the lack of the willingness to, grab this knowledge, to get the knowledge. And that's the thing, people are just so reserved and so, scared to do anything outside the box of what they have been taught and what they have been seeing other people do. So we follow what we see work, and we have that security and that safety and something that's normal. People who excel and do big things go outside the box, and that's why they are successful. Now, of course, you could be successful within the system, but you are never really going to truly be free as long as you have to get up and go punch a clock. As long as you have to get up and be somewhere that somebody tells you to be. How is that freedom? Somebody's telling you to be somewhere. They control your entire day because you have to be there at that specific time. It's crazy. So you're not truly free. And you understand what I'm saying by freedom if you have ever felt it before, to where you can do whatever you want to do. You don't have to be nowhere at a certain time. You don't have that lingering feeling in the background that 2 days from now I got to go back to work. You're not worried about money. You're not worried about bills. It's a freedom that you have when you are where you want to be at and you have the means to do what you need to do. So how all of this pertains to manifestation, and the reason why you don't understand this is one of the reasons why many people are not going to get to where they need to be, because it's something that is so subtle and just seems so normal. Remember, as I said before, things we call emotions is energy. So something that you have been taught to just call an emotion is actual energy coursing through your body, and energy that causes you to do things, to move, to react. And people look at it as just something that's just human and don't understand the power, that it really entails. So as I talked about before, in meditation part 1, before you can even begin to meditate, you have to understand that it's possible and not have in the back of your head that this is some kind of, spooky stuff that we're talking about. So to give you the example, as I talked about in meditation part 1, I talked about, sexual stimulation, how from thought you can have physical stimulation. And we broke it down to the science, how thought occurs first, and you have energy that travels to the hippocampus, down the fibers of the choroid plexus, to the fornix, which is where the word fornicate and porn comes from. Travels down your spine, where it hits your sacral nerve and causes an erection. All that from thought. You have every physical movement that you do. When you move your hands, everything that you do starts first with a thought, then energy that travels down the spine and allows you to move. And it happens faster than you can consciously perceive, but the thought occurs first. Telling you in essence that we are consciousness before we are material, because that's where it comes from, a thought, plain and simple. So it goes back to that whole notion when you're talking to yourself in your mind, who are you conversating with? People can't really even fathom that much. You can close your eyes and not speak and hold an entire conversation with yourself. And we do it all the time. But, it's something that is very normal that can seem crazy. But it's like, who am I perceiving? What am I perceiving to be able to ask this question? If you can wrap your head around that. So you have to look at it outwardly. And this is the subtle way that they use it against us. Because what we don't understand is everything that we are perceiving through TV and music is being put there to shape the reality that we live in. And this manifestation is happening, right now, all the time. So we can go back and we can look at the trends, and we call them trends. But trends are just, things that is put out there for us to later manifest. So we can go back to 2005 when people wasn't saying turn up until the song came out. Now everybody's saying turn up. So we can go back to where people wasn't doing all these certain dances and people wasn't twerking all crazy and so many things that wasn't happening that was created and put out there to shape the reality that we see today. So because we're seeing this stuff in mainstream media today, we're seeing it in real life. We're seeing people, language change, talking different, saying different slang words that, you didn't understand 10 years ago. And we can look at it and say, well, that's just the times. Times is just changing. But if that was the case, you wouldn't see an operator behind it. And that's the thing. It's not something that is natural. It is something that is being done to shape a reality, that fits an agenda. So in which case I'm saying it's somebody behind all of these actions. Somebody behind the hip hop action to get everybody twerking and dancing and rapping and what have you. It's something behind the action to get women out here on Instagram and want to be Instagram hoes or what have you to keep the black woman in the position that she's in. It's an agenda behind all of these actions that's shaping the reality that we live in. So we can go from mainstream media, all the record labels only wanting to put out gangster rap, music that promotes violence and killing and drug dealing. They will look at the reality that we live in. We have manifested that in physical reality. So it's not something that we can look at and say spooky. It's happening every day. So now this is not something that is easy to do. When you understand to put a model like this together, when we're talking about the system that we live in, to put something like this together, what are we going to do to keep people stuck to it? You understand what I'm saying? So the system has to be created in a way that has us bound to it to where we need it. And, we basically need it for those who, have to live here, who can't afford to live outside of it. And that's the key. The key is money. Plain and simple, money. The monetary system was created so that we be bound to the system. Plain and simple. And everything that you could want, all your desires, things that you want to do, eat, or what have you, is bound by that money. And they did this so that you would base your worth. You would base your present and your future off of how much money you have. Those who got more, sky's the limit. Those who have less, you're fighting. And that's what it's about. So now they can use that fact that you are down and you are low to control your reality. So how are they doing that? We see it. Music industry, hip hop. Flossing, taunting, making people jealous and making people seek after what they put out there. So the majority of the people you talk to are trying to do something to generate money to get something that they seen on TV. Plain and simple, to get something that they saw, to get something that they want because they saw it on TV, or they got their urge for it based upon this system which has taught you to want certain things. If you understand what I'm saying. So with the monetary system, you create the fear, the doubt, the disbelief, and the ignorance. Because people are perceiving their reality based off their worth, how much money they have. Plain and simple. So when you have that going on and you have rich people out there flossing or what have you, it creates a want. And if you are wanting, you're not manifesting. Because want is a pain. You know, you desire. When you say I want something or I need something, when you're a desire, I want to get this. You're creating and you're destroying yourself when you say that. You know, it's one of the things that you're going to have to learn to get out of your system and just look at and picture yourself as doing this. We'll get into this. But as soon as you looking at these videos or you're looking at TV and say, you're saying in your heart, which is your power, which is everything, you're saying to your energy, I want this, I desire this. And what they have effectively done is made it so when most people see stuff that they want and desire, it creates a pain. And then that pain turns into something else, depending on the type of person you are. So in most cases, when people see something like a mansion that's nice and everything, it creates a woe or sadness within them, as if they're not going to be able to get it because they're thinking about their worth. They're thinking about how much money they have and how hard it's going to be to get to that point to afford that. And it creates a sadness, a profound sadness within certain people. And, you know, they get sad. And some people get jealous. They get angry. They get envious. Especially when they see other black folks doing it. You know, that's where those feelings and emotions come from. Because you feel like, oh, you're jealous and you're envious that this person was able to achieve this. And you feel like you never can. You never will. And the minute you have that emotion within you, you're already destroying your future. You're killing it. Because you have this energy, and they created this so that you have this energy because they understand the power of manifestation, and that the four worst things in this reality is fear, doubt, disbelief, and ignorance. And now, just off of one music video, off of one commercial, off of one TV show, you have created all the worst bad things in existence within yourself, and you're keeping yourself down. You know, when you succeed because of all the steps you truly understood and you were confident that you will achieve them. Now, a lot of times people stress and worry, but they have already put in the physical work to make things happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you take a test and you know you study for the test, but you know, you kind of still worried a little bit about that test score, you know, but you know you study, you put in the physical work. There's really no need to worry because the work was done. And you get the good results later on because you put in that work. Plain and simple. So the same type of situation, you have to really look at it as it pertains to you having success in life. So now there's no real science that we can point to, you know, to really prove manifestation. You know, nothing that we can point to that's concrete. Now we have actual, you know, proof, but it's going to be hard to get people to believe that it's actual manifestation when you explain it to them. You know, we do this all the time when you're thinking about a TV episode and it comes on. You might be thinking somebody is coming to visit, or you're thinking about a person and they call, stuff like this. So we can call it intuition, or, you know, just intuitive thoughts or what have you, and people just, you know, predicting the future. But, you know, it fits in the realm of manifestation. So you got to understand one. You know, this is something that is ancient, that has been talked about in ancient Kemet, as we'll get into. And, you know, you really got to grasp that, you know, manifestation is just something that we cannot ignore, and it's part of our purpose in being here. So it says here, there are traditions going back to the beginning of recorded human history which speak of the power of manifestation and the law of attraction. Manifestation is the ability of any human being to use certain techniques to manifest what he or she desires. The law of attraction, more accurately laws, laws that's important, we're going to get into this, are the principles which you can use to manifest your desires. There's nothing mysterious about this. Although the early teachings of manifestation tried to hide their teachings in secrecy and mystery and tried to limit the knowledge for a select few who had undergone initiation rituals of one kind or another. The fact is, this knowledge is now and always has been available to everyone, or at least to those who care to look for it, and manifesting your desire is a healthy way to live. Now understand, the ancient Egyptians talked about manifestation through music. They talked about manifestation all the time. In fact, when you get really learn into understanding Egyptian hieroglyphics, you will begin to see when in the hieroglyphics and the reliefs, they're talking about manifestation. A lot of the times you'll see with astro traveling or with them traveling through the cosmos or with them talking about dreams, you'll see the stars and you'll notice that solar boat. It's a lot of times when you have to look at these glyphs to understand when they're talking about manifestation and talking about using power, using the power of energy to manifest. It gets really deep. But, the Greeks got into it and they understood it. And this is one of the most deepest hidden things in the occult, is understanding manifestation, and that it's replete throughout the ancient world, especially in ancient Kemet. So, they gave us the Kabbalion. And we get the Kabbalion, which really is getting into manifestation. Now, it says here, one of the original accounts of how to turn thoughts into reality was the Kabbalion. I'm going to skip down here. The Kabbalion was written by an Egyptian sage called Hermes. And we know Hermes was an Egyptian sage. That's the Greek Hermes Trismegistus, copying off of Thoth. That's why these teachings are called Hermetic teachings. Like many others who have been interested in manifestation, Hermes tried to make sense of the principles behind this phenomenon by classifying and ordering what he thought was going on. And that's important. It says what he thought was going on, and understand when you're getting into the Kabbalah, and it's just as coded as the Bible. They are not just going to put all these secrets in the book. So when you read in any of these esoteric books, you got to understand they coded. They code them all. And only a select few is really going to understand what it's actually talking about. Now, there's many of the release we see from ancient Kemet with them playing music. And you got to look at this and understand when we see a lot of these rituals, we always have the playing of music. We could take that back to Voodoo. And even in Voodoo, when you see them manifesting the Loa, remember, it's music playing. It's always music playing. They're beating on drums, the music gets intense, and they're summoning the Loa. This is manifestation. They're manifesting the energy they need to complete the task of the voodoo spell. And different Loas do different things. So it's different music that they're going to be playing to summon different Loa. So we see this not just in Voodoo, but in ancient Kemet, where music is being used to manifest. Now we know the Kabbalion has like the 7 principles of manifestation. You have all these other things that you can read about when it comes to manifestation. That's talking about, there's different steps that you have to follow to properly manifest or what have you. A lot of this stuff is spooky bullshit, and it's not really getting into the heart of, true manifestation, but giving you stuff, that they think you should follow. Some of the stuff is good and important, but not all of it. It's more to it. But, in the Kabbalion, you understand one of the main things is having faith. No doubting, no worrying, no wishing about the energy of manifestation, which is knowing. Plain and simple. And I say that to get you to understand that knowledge is everything. And when I say it, when you have the knowledge to do something, guess what? It gets done. Because there's no ignorance there. You have all the tools, the knowledge, the know-how to complete the task. So it's going to get done. Plain and simple. So you have confidence when you know. You know the answers to the test. You go in there confidently, take the test. You know how to fight. You ain't scared to step in that ring. You know how to play basketball. You ain't scared to hoop. So on and so forth. Knowing is everything. The knowledge is power. It allows you to have the confidence that's going to, allow you to basically manifest more to a clear victory or a clear achievement of the goal that you're striving for. Plain and simple. So it's like we don't really understand sometimes how we put energy into a lot of stuff, just by understanding about it and being confident about it. So where we see this, well, one, you got to get to the part where we know they're copying from Kemet when it comes to manifestation or what have you. That's one thing. But since we know they copy from Kemet and we see things show up in the Bible, where will we see manifestation? And this is the biggest part right here that a lot of people are just not going to get. And I'm going to break it down to help you understand it better. Plain and simple. When the Bible is talking about the Holy Spirit, it's talking about manifestation. It's just that simple. Whenever it's talking about the Spirit, Holy Spirit, it's talking about manifestation. That's one of the key codes of the occult that we understand and that we know. And people who deal with the occult and deal with any type of esoteric understanding of the Bible see that the Holy Spirit is clearly manifestation. It's not that hard when you really pay attention to certain verses. Now, the Bible is all about having faith. Faith in the Spirit, faith in Jesus, which is you. Faith in yourself, knowledge, knowing. Jesus equals knowledge, knowing. Plain and simple, if you get that, that is what the faith is about. Faith in you. Faith in you so you can manifest the Spirit, the Holy Spirit that comes from you. It's just all right there when you get it in the book. So, when you read in, let's just go to Acts 1, and he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power, but ye shall receive power. After that, the Holy Ghost is come upon you. And I'm going to stop it right there, just so you can understand one. This so-called Holy Ghost is a manifestation of your own energy. Plain and simple. You conjuring energy, using your power without understanding what you are doing. The congregation is playing music. Exactly what they talked about in ancient Kemet about using music to manifest. All you are doing is manifesting energy and feelings and emotions about the pain and the struggle that you are going through in your daily life that you are having a strong emotion on. The dancing and the jumping around is the hope, the possibility of that being rectified, and you not understanding how to turn that power into actual reality and results for yourself. Instead, you just conjuring and manifesting the energy within yourself that's just going to cause you to jump around and act crazy. And that's all it is. It's something that we used to do and we've been doing for a long time. But you see it in Voodoo, but they have effectively understood how to transfer that into real reality, into real things. Plain and simple. So we can look at it. Voodoo is ancient. So if it didn't work, I don't think it would be ancient. People would have been doing this stuff and be like, man, it's some bullshit. But they understood and they follow it with universal law, understanding not to do bad voodoo like you see on TV. That it comes back on you. There are rules, and they get that. So what the Bible, biblically, what they're trying to tell you is, you're doing the same stuff. That's what you're supposed to do. And Galatians 3, this is basically Paul talking to the Galatians. And I'm skipping here, now he says here, let me ask you this one. And this is a New Living Translation, just to make it more easier to understand. He says in 2, Galatians 3:2, let me ask you this one question. Did you receive the Holy Spirit by obeying the law of Moses? Of course not. You received the Spirit because you believe the message you heard about Christ. How foolish can you be? After starting your new lives in the Spirit, why are you now trying to become perfect by your own human effort? It says in 5, I ask you again, does God give you the Holy Spirit and work miracles among you because you obey the law? Of course not. It is because you believe the message you heard about Christ. And this parable is about the Spirit being the power. Plain and simple. So you had the Spirit. Why are you trying to do physical stuff when you got the Spirit telling you it's manifestation? The good things that's happening for you, you're manifesting. That's what the Spirit is talking about. That's what it's saying.